Good evening. I'd like to call to order the February 11th, 2009 Planning Commission meeting. Let the record show that all members are present. If I could have a motion for acceptance of the minutes from the January 14th meeting, and I think everybody has an amended first page.
Motion to accept the revised minutes.
Second.
Motion by Steve Barrow, seconded by Michael Marchand. Any opposition? Motion carries. This time I'd like to open up the floor for public comment. Anyone wishing to speak on any item not on the agenda, please come forward and you'll have 3 minutes to speak. And I'd like to let the audience know this is the Planning Commission meeting. We'll have the Zoning Commission meeting following, and then following the Zoning Commission we'll have a joint meeting of the Planning and Zoning. So anyone wanting to speak on a item not on the Planning Commission agenda, please come forward. You'll have 3 minutes to speak. No one wishing to speak. Public comment period is closed. Item 5A, public hearing for the following family partition, the Cynthia Savoy property, lots 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Russell, Mystic Surveyors, asking for, I think we're here asking for a variance on the private servitude passage, existing one that's there. This subdivision, originally back in 2002, I believe, was approved by the Planning Commission, but it was never followed through as far as my client that finishing up on getting it signed and recorded. So we bring it back through the process again. I know I think they're calling for a 60-foot private servitude, but this is already existing 30-foot private servitude of pasture. So we're asking for the variance into the 30-foot here.
Okay, thank you. Commissioners have any questions, comments at this time?
Yeah, sir, I do have a question. I was out there looking at the property, and I was kind of wondering why that trailer that's there wasn't shown on this plat. There's a trailer on the north.
Hi, I'm Cynthia. That is my niece's trailer. That side of the property belongs to my brother-in-law.
What's it?
That's not the trailer he's referring to. It's on the northern, would be the northern side of the property.
Right.
Where the house is located, the residence on lot
yes,
1, there's a
yes,
trailer also there.
Right.
That's the
mine.
lot.
That's where I live.
I guess the question is why is it not shown? I mean,
Save us some money. We didn't make a revisit back into the field, and I wasn't aware the trailer was there. We was basically just resubmitting the same plat we had that was approved before.
Well, sir, now this isn't the same plat. The plat that I looked at only had one lot back here. Lot 3 and 4 was only one lot. So this isn't the same.
That's not the same plat.
It is it is shown as 2 lots. At one time, we were going to divide it, but it is all belong. It will all belong to my son. That's the reason I'm redoing this, is so that I can give my 3 children their divided property.
Are you saying that lot 3 and 4 are really going to just be one lot?
Yes.
Well, then
yeah.
I kind of think we need a different plat then.
Actually, what we want to do, and the reason this came up, I thought it was, completely done until I got ready to sell this back lot, or my son, to my brother-in-law, who has the adjoining property, and we realized it had never been recorded. We thought it had been recorded 6 years ago, and because we've been getting 3 different tax bills on the different lots. So when we realized that just recently, we had Mystic redo these. And at one time I was going to divide it between lots 3 and 4 and sell to the 2 adjoining neighbors, but that has changed. We would like to
make this one.
Yeah,
And
instead of a lot
deferred.
4, it'll just be lot 3.
Well, even if you went to defer it, you still have another issue. Since the time that this back in 2002. That's when you first presented this. Since that time, there have been some changes in the ordinance, or the ordinances, and now you have to conform with those ordinances. So I realize that you are asking for a variance in this case, but I don't see how, right now, I don't see how we can grant that variance.
The changes being,
What's the hardship? What's
the hardship is that there wasn't enough frontage to divide it between my 3 children. So the other 2 children in the back, Rachel and Jeffrey, you know, don't have any frontage.
Any other questions, comments at this time? If not, I'd like to open up the floor for public hearing. Anyone wishing to come forward and speak on this property, please sign in, come forward. No one wishing to speak. Public hearing is closed. Commissioners?
I guess I'm confused. Explain to me why there isn't any frontage, and that's a hardship on the width of the servitude. I mean, the width of the servitude isn't going to affect the frontage of lots 3 and 4.
Okay, ask me the question again, I'm sorry.
I don't understand how the frontage is the basis for the hardship. The frontage isn't going to affect, the servitude width is not going to affect the frontage on lots 3
Well, when
and 4.
we built the house, it was my husband and I that built the house back in '72, and yes, and there was a 30-foot servitude back then, and now, since the servitude has increased, it would be on top of the house.
Oh, you're talking about the existing house in lot 1. You're talking about you don't have enough width between the house and the property line.
Right.
Okay, all right. You know, you've got a lot of lot 1s, a lot of lot 2s, and a lot of lot 3s, and a lot of lot 4s on this plat. How are you gonna correct all the numbering?
Well, Lot 1, under Kenneth Haynes' name, is my oldest daughter's. Lot 2 is my youngest daughter, and Lot 3 and 4 will belong to my youngest son. The other property on that survey is my sister's property, who is deceased, so now it belongs to, you know, my brother-in-law and his children. So only Lot 1, 2, 3, and 4.
It would be known as the Cynthia Savoy subdivision. 1, 2, and 3.
Were these all at one time part of the same parent tract?
My parents bought it in the 50s.
The whole
And-
thing?
Yes, the 26 acres. And then in 73, my father was deceased. My mother gave half to myself and half to my sister to build homes on it. And so we each had the 13 acres.
And now, along comes the third family partition, and we now have a subdivision with 9 lots, all based on the same parent tract. Is that not correct, staff? I see heads bobbing. Is that an affirmative yes?
No, I got 1, 2, 3,
Just 8.
4, 7.
No.
Well, they're gonna eliminate lot 4.
Oh, you're gonna, okay.
Well, yeah, but it's not on the plat. What we're looking at,
Yeah, I know,
this is what we have to vote on, is this.
I'm just throwing in this tonight. I had no guy supposed to come up there, but he had emergency.
We can make Lot 3 and 4 just Lot 3. I don't need to divide it. And I do have a copy of that before it was split.
But even making lot 3 and 4, turning that into one lot, you still have a total of 7 lots here. And we have just this year we went ahead and we passed an ordinance that is, as far as the servitude, it's not just lots created but also lots serviced.
Well,
So-
lot 1 basically fronts LA 73. I mean, we had to cut through 1. I mean, when we did these backwards here,
It's all part of the same subdivision.
Any other questions or comments?
I guess I'm a little confused about the subdivision that, you know, the property that belongs to my brother-in-law since my sister has passed away. That was divided back in 73, as far as the records go.
Understood, but it's all part of the same parent tract.
Okay.
It started here, and it got cut in half. One half got cut into more pieces. The other half is now being cut.
Right.
It all is a tree back to the original one. We, you know, that's why it's important. It's just going to lead to confusion.
Okay.
And at the same time, we need to look at that access road in totality rather than just in the minutia of what you're trying to do
Okay.
with the remaining piece.
Well, both of my parents are deceased, and so is my sister, so it's just me left as far as the family. And I'm just trying to do the right thing and give it to my 3 children, which is, I thought I had done 6 years ago.
Yeah. And we understand, but what we're trying to do is for the parish is to make sure that
Right.
when this happens, there's ways we can address the access, the drainage, sewer, et cetera. So, and that's kind of what we said at this, you know, this year is we need to look at this, make sure we're not creating more problems. I mean, we already have enough as is. We just need to slow it down and address that.
Right.
And that's our concern.
So the property, my daughter lives on Lot 1, Lot 2 and 3 are just woods. They're vacant. And they don't plan on doing anything with it. I don't know if that'll make a difference or not, but, you know,
Well.
it's just,
And I'm sure when your parents bought it, I mean, there wasn't long foresight to, you know, to their purchasing the property either. It is what it is. So,
okay.
all right. What is the wish of the commission? No other
I'm going to
comment?
make a motion to deny based on staff recommendation.
I'll second.
Motion by Michael Marchand to deny. Seconded by Buddy. All in favor? Any opposition? Motion carries. Item number 5B, Matthew Stafford property tracks D1A, D1B.
Good evening. Matthew Stafford. I live at 14533 Tigger Plessis Road. Lived there for a little over 30 years. Here tonight to ask for a partition of the property from track 1, including track D1B, taking it off of track D1A. As stated in the hardship letter, be donated to my daughter, Jennifer Schattinger, to aid with her raising her children and having a nice piece of property for them to run and play on. And that's what we're presenting to you tonight.
Okay. Commissioners, any comments, questions? No comments, questions? Open up the floor for public hearing. Anyone wishing to come forward, speak on this property, please come forward. No one wishing to speak? Public hearing is closed. Commissioners, questions, comments?
I may have missed
Motion.
it, but quick question here.
Okay.
The issue about the sewer effluent discharge, has that been addressed, staff? Yes. Okay.
And motion to approve based on staff recommendation.
Second.
Motion approved by Michael Marchand, seconded by Bob. Any opposition? Motion carries. Item 5, no, I'm sorry, 6. Public meeting for granting approval to the following simple division of property with variance. Jeffrey and Sherry Abril property, lots A1A1 and A1A2.
My name is Scott Lobel with Lobel Engineering and Land Surveying, and tonight I would like to request approval with a waiver for frontage on a public street of the re-subdivision of Lot A1A into A1A1 and A1A2. To give you some background on the property, Ms. Averill and her husband own the property. They wish to convey the back 1 acre to her sister, Ms. Rhonda Gerard. And also, we created a 30-foot private servitude of passage to access that. Charles and I did some talking. He said you guys might want to see a 40. What we done was show the power pole with the guide wire, which is why we created the 30-foot servitude. If it does need to be larger, we would like your approval contingent on we make it larger. If you guys have any other questions, I'll do my best to answer them.
Any questions, comments from commissioners?
I don't remember, does the one drive service both lots, or does lot one, A1 have its own entrance?
Right now, there is a existing culvert out there, and I don't think that they had made any driveway at the time. I think that the existing culvert is probably going to be a little bit outside of the 30-foot servitude. It would be probably more on A1A1.
Okay, so then the servitude you're showing, the private servitude, the access, would only service one lot, right?
Yes.
Okay, so then it is sufficient, isn't it, Charles, for one lot? Okay.
I don't understand the configuration. What's that long finger on lot A1, going south? What's that for?
What had happened was that there's a 32.57-foot strip. What they wanted to sell to Miss Sherry's sister was a 1 acre square. So whenever we laid off the 20871 by 20871, the remainder of the property, it created that 32.57-foot strip. But that's what they want to be able to sell to her, 1 acre square.
Any other comments, questions?
Yeah, the only comment I'm going to tell you is that I don't have a problem with what you're doing, but I think that doing something like this is just terrible planning and is very inefficient use, and essentially what you end up is you'll end up with lot A1 that, a substantial portion of it is encumbered by the existing road right-of-way and utilities, and you end up with acreage that's in a finger that you can't use and meet setbacks, so you end up with practically an unbuildable lot. And not to mention, in fact, you end up with this little 49-foot by 80-foot, 90-foot piece, just north of lot A1, A2, but, west of this 30-foot passage, this useless piece of property as well. So, I appreciate the fact that she likes a square piece of property, but a rectangle will work just as fine. And I think you need to be a little bit more efficient about how to use this property.
No other comments at this time. I'll open up the floor for public hearing. Anyone wishing to come forward and speak, please come forward and have 3 minutes to speak. No one wishing to come forward. Public hearing is closed. Any other comments, questions? No. What is the wish of the commission?
Make a motion to approve.
Motion approved by Paige Beck now, seconded by Buddy. Any opposition?
I'm gonna vote no, just on the principle that I think it's just poorly laid out. I don't have a problem with what you want to do. If this thing were laid out differently, I'd
I
approve it.
understand, and I can only do what my clients
I
ask
understand.
me to do. So.
But I just think this is ultimately going to be a problem.
Yep.
And don't want you going to the Board of Adjustment because you can't meet setbacks.
No other opposition? Motion carries. Item 7, committee reports, subdivision ordinance committee. Sherry?
I don't have anything to report. Our meetings are held the last Monday of the month, 2 o'clock at DPW.
All right, thank you. Strategic planning, I don't know that anyone attended, so no report there. Item number 8,
I moved.
move to adjourn. We'll reconvene in 10 minutes with the zoning commission.